Our
big
charting master Rand. What's up, brother?
what a big ass candle. What a big ass candle.
That's a
43,000.
big candle. That is a very big candle, and I think it came out of nowhere, right? There was nothing that really backed it. I know you know. I know you got. Where's your birds actually, or your bees?
You don't need birds and bees. You don't need birds and bees. There's actually data that shows you exactly what causes candle. There's data. The data shows
That's
you.
crazy. We actually had dinner last night, and you spoke about it. The next morning, you woke up, it was literally spot on.
At dinner, I said to you, this is exactly what's going to happen, and it happened, and that's exactly what happened. All right, so we'll look today at what caused the Bitcoin pump. Then the big question is, will this actually flow into alts? That's the big question, because this is not what you think it is. This is not a Bitcoin pump. This is not institutional buying. This is not what usually causes Bitcoin pumps. There's some clues in the data that show us exactly what's causing this pump, so we'll look at what's causing this pump. And then once we know what's causing the pump, we'll look at as to whether altcoins are going to follow. And there are some altcoins which are going to follow, but it's not all altcoins. So let's do this. Let's do this. Short intros is the name of the game. Welcome back.
Yeah, no wasting time. We get straight into it these days. It's better.
Straight into it. So let's get straight into it. If you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel, like this content. Let's get the show on the road. Let's build the biggest and most loyal crypto community in the world. For those of you who stuck around in the bear market, well, now you are reaping the rewards, because you see some of the tokens that we said we think you should be investing in are actually flying today. So if you look at things like Luna is up to $90.
Wow, dude, how is that? It's literally 89% up in the last 9 days.
Yeah, $90 on Luna, and we said that at $50 we told the community to ape into Luna. I think now we're starting to see Luna season. There are a whole lot of others. So if you did do that, if you did actually buy in the dip, well done to you. Well done to you for having conviction. But now the big question is this going to continue? And I think we need to ask questions as to why this happened. Before that, though, let's look at the charts. Let's look at what the charts are saying.
So, brother, what basically happened is, just quick intro on Bitcoin, because we've sort of been, yesterday we had it narrowed down that we had the 40K region, which was the top resistance, and we broke through that. We knew we were going to come quite quickly to the bear wall. And then we had the bottom resistance, which is sitting around 37,000. If we dropped that, we knew we would come back into the panic zone. So I actually like the print of emotions right now. It's sort of playing out really well. And this was a very big candle. Now, what I like about that is, still what we looked about, 2-3 days ago, that this big candle here with this big volume was a lot of a bigger deal than what we actually thought it was. It's something that's only happened 4 times. It was always great temporary reversals for us. And now we can see very clear it's starting to get backed. And I love to see that we got a really great big green volume buy yesterday. So at least the volume is also backing the bigger move at this point. Now, what I've seen is the 1 hour and 4 hour RSIs, the stochastics, are a little bit high. So I am looking at a short term within the day, a small little pullback for Bitcoin to come back to around 41, 42. That is a possibility if we do get it. Now, this is the question now, why did the altcoins not move? Why did we not get the massive alt? And it always goes back to the mentality of, this is how pumps are always going to start in the market. We're always going to have the Bitcoin run, and then we're going to start to shift, because we then had this really big dominance spike yesterday, which is quite interesting to see. And what I basically did was, guys, we spoke very much about these previous downtrends when it was alt time, and we knew it always starts with Bitcoin, and then it flushed into alts, and then Bitcoin it flushed into alts. And at this point, were we like, is this finally going to be the run where we do get a nice 30, 40, 50% gain from Bitcoin from the lows? Because if we look where the lows were at 33 to where we are now, we are looking at a 25% or 26% gain from Bitcoin at this point. Will we reach the same range highs of where we did, around 48%, and then get it spread back strong into the alts? And that's why I drew this main trend line, very similar to what we had these ones over here. And right now, all we did was break it, and we've tested it right now. Now, if we break in that, it just means that Bitcoin's going to run a little bit solo, a little bit for a little bit longer. But we do know that this is the first step in every single previous move that we've had. Now, if we look at this, these previous zones on where we broke out here, what was quite interesting with the Bitcoin chart when I saw that was, just see where I marked them up. There we go. Was what usually happens is we get the little Bitcoin breakout, then we got the Bitcoin shift. Okay, so now Bitcoin finally breaks that dominance trend to the downward side. Then what happens is we have Bitcoin then after that take control and we have a dip off after that, which means alts start to bleed quite a bit. Then we have another little push up and a drop back again. So alts actually get very destroyed in this area over here. And then we get a Bitcoin liftoff. Now, those previous charts where I showed you now, where we broke the dominance on those two lines, this was the previous area there, and this was the previous area here. And it's done the same thing. We had a bounce in Bitcoin, altcoin bleed, altcoin bleed, altcoin bleed, Bitcoin liftoff. And now we're in that same region with what happened over here is this was when we finally crossed. So this little zone over here was when we finally crossed this line again. So meaning we finally crossed this bottom zone here again. And if we look at the same pattern of what played out in that time was once we basically, let's just get it back to that chart. There we go. Is we first have the big dip off, then obviously a push, then we have the alt bleed, and then we start the new cycle again. So when it comes to restarting of cycles, we're very much still on par on where we're looking at. So short time frame view on Bitcoin, I am looking at a small little pullback, a possible, not to say it's guaranteed it's going to happen because we are at the bear wall now, but a small pullback of the region of 41 to the 42K region. And this is where I know the next step, where if we either drop this little zone over here of dominance, we're going to obviously get a massive alt rally, or we're going to have Bitcoin break in here. And in this time, we're still going to have the alts rallying with it, but at least securing my entries at these level in the altcoins, well, I will reap the rewards at a later stage if we either get denied over here or if we do get denied at a later sort of point. So I'm taking advantage when it comes to altcoins now, because for me, the cycle has reset and we are following the exact same procedures on where we're looking at recently. So we are at the big wall of Bitcoin now, which is at the, we know this is the bear control wall, but we know the break of the 45, 46 zone, this takes us really up to the next levels, which is this zone over here. And I'm actually going to see it quite quickly. We keep forgetting that these big candles, they come quickly at some point and the market turns very bullish really quickly at times. So what I'm looking at is either small pullback to this zone over here, I'm capitalizing on alts, or the break of the 45 wall, which will give us a strong accelerator zone, I'm looking to add in on alts. Now, if I look at that now and to say, okay, so small pullback to 41, 42, that's when I want to capitalize on alts. Now I jump into the altcoin charts. And all of them on daily trends right now, long-term day trends to the downward side. Yeah, we are all sitting on that zone. So the alts are printing the exact same image for me at that point as well. So what I'm looking at is Bitcoin breaks that 45K zone, alts are going to start breaking trend, and then we're going to start getting a strong rally point. Now, ETH is one of my first examples. And what I'm looking at from ETH here is we get that 45 break. I can see ETH really rallying up back to the 3,600, back to the $4,000 range, which is the previous. I've used basically a fib from the top to the bottom, taking us up to that zone. So looking at that, then I jump to a render chart, right on the daily trend. I jump on the Axie chart, right on the daily trend. I start to match all of these now, and everything is showing me right now on massive daily trends. So which means now we're back at that critical wall level again, but a break of this will get the confidence back. We know the bears are trying to control the 46K or the $45,000 region, but the break of that shows us that we're going to have a massive push within the alts, and that's where I want to be capitalizing. So we are getting to that point now, guys, where the big shift can happen so fast, you're going to rub your damn eyes and you're going to look and you'll be like, what just happened? Because it does happen at these sort of times. And we're starting to get that strength now to come back into the market. So looking at this and looking at that before I jump into these alts and give you guys a nice little view of what I'm looking at with these alts and how I'm playing them, is we are straight back on the money season line again. We spoke about this yesterday, that we got this really strong reversal candle on USDT Dominance. And look how we got this massive red candle to the downward side. And now we're straight on support. And does that not make sense to you now? That this big red candle over here was clearly Bitcoin. And when will the rest of the market wake up? When we finally have the break of the support showing that now we're going to have a tremendous amount of USDT entering back in the market. That's not going to come just from Bitcoin. That's now going to be a whole alt market explosion. So I love that we're at that point now where, Bitcoin, thank you. Thank you for finally recovering back and getting us back to these sort of levels. And now we have the zone. So $41,000, $42,000 zone. I'm looking to add up on alts, or I'm looking at the break of the 45,000 because the alts have not broken just yet. They had a small bounce yesterday, but it was clearly a Bitcoin bounce. And then we know what's the next steps from that. Do you want to jump in there, brother, before I go into some of the alts?
No, go. I'm just listening.
But what do you think? You agree with me, right? Bitcoin bounce, dominance is at that sort of level, and now we're looking at the critical level where we've been there. We've been at this zone already twice, and I think that's where the last little bit of uncertainty is right now. Is this a dead cat bounce? Is it a reversal sort of point? The difference is these 2 times of rallies up here was no volume. The difference this time is we have volume backing the next sort of move. And look how some of the alts are starting to rip yet, but we do know that's massive, dude.
That's the only chart that you can draw whatever chart that you want. You can draw whatever trend line you want. You can draw whatever Fibonacci you want. You can draw whatever you want. There's actually only one chart that matters, and that's this chart. And what we've seen here is we saw on 1 day or 2 days, all of a sudden, addresses with over 1,000 Bitcoin exploded. Okay, exploded. Okay, so this is addresses with over 1,000 Bitcoin. In other words, whales. So what happened? Oligarchs, people that thought they were going to get sanctions, ran out of places to put their money. That's what happened. People ran out of places to put their money. So where did they put their money? They put their money into Bitcoin. And you know how much they paid for their Bitcoin? They paid about, in some cases, they paid over 100% premium. They were peer-to-peer Bitcoin in Russia yesterday. We're trading at over over double the price of Bitcoin. Okay, so that is what happened yesterday. Someone saying the Glassnode charts is false. It's not false, as far as I know. As far as I know, some of those addresses were Binance addresses moving coins, but in totality, the chart is correct. Now, what happened was oligarchs started buying, or people that thought they were going to get affected by a war or sanctions started to put their money into Bitcoin. That's it. That's what happened. So the question is, will that then filter into altcoins? Because these are people that are they're not here to speculate on whether Solana or whether whether they just want to get their money out of they want to get their money out of the system, which is exactly what Bitcoin was meant to do. That's what this is all about. So that's the big question. Will that then?
Well, think about it now, right? So I'm going to go through this chart shortly now, but think about it now. The whole crypto world has been waiting for this stuff to settle. Like, can we continue now?
Correct.
Can we finally continue? So do what you got to do. Please get Bitcoin through. So those guys are clearly thinking Bitcoin level, let's get our money out. But the crypto market is waiting. Can we continue the job that we were doing previously? Now, this was quite an interesting chart of the Dixie, which is the monthly chart. And we basically formed this long-term sort of wedge over the last 5 to 6 years. And what was beautiful about it is every time we got to the top of these were the actual starts of bull cycles and really strong bull legs. Now, this top one over here was when we started the 2017 run. And that's just a beautiful chart to say that money really moved strongly out of dollars and into the actual markets. We then had the 2020 run, which was 2 years ago, which was this zone over here. And now we're back at that level again. And what's quite interesting is the RSI is showing us the exact same thing again as well, where we are hovering at the sort of zone of where the last previous bull cycles actually started. And what I love about it too is we have the massive monthly stochastic RSI that's completely oversold and agreeing with us too as well. So it's quite interesting. The last 2 times we were at these levels, it was a start of a massive run. So you got the Bitcoin breakout now. We got they're sort of shifting money into Bitcoin, and you got the crypto market that's sitting on the side and waiting for the stuff to end so they can continue what we've been wanting to do for the last sort of while. So I love that this is sort of agreeing as well. We need dollar to be weak so that we can sort of see, a massive push. Now, if we do have a rejection here, it's showing up to, an 8-9% drop within the dollar. And we obviously know how big that can also be for the crypto market. So that's another great thing for us as well. Now, ones that I'm looking to sort of capitalize at with the break. So remember what I'm saying, Bitcoin 41, 42, I'm capturing on a lot of good alts. The ones I'm looking at is Axie. It is, Ethereum, it is Render, it's Saffron Finance, it's Ultra, it's Fantom, it's Gala, and that I'm going to go through now. So anytime, remember, dominance is in Bitcoin's favor right now, which means I don't need to make it tough for me to chart all of these alts. When Bitcoin gets to the zone I want to be stocking up, I stock up on the alts because the dominance is in Bitcoin's favor. So it doesn't make it quite hard for me. And then if we get the break of 45, which is the second option, I am looking now, because what's going to then happen is when do we finally get the alts to start catching up? Is when they start breaking really long-term downtrends. When they really start breaking key levels. What is a trend line? What is my favorite part of a trend line? Is when we break these trend lines, all of a sudden volume just appears out of nowhere and we start to get volume behind it. And that's exactly what the market's waiting for now. So Bitcoin 41, 42, I'm stocking up all the break of that. Now, ETH will be the one for me that's going to show quite a bit of strength. It's strong to BTC and it's strong to the dominance as well. So a break of that trend and a close outside that trend, which is basically basically a $3,000 level. I'm looking then, because look at this volume, guys. We haven't seen this volume for a while. The last time we saw these volume spikes was a year ago, or in the region of July, when ETH all of a sudden, in the matter of 2-3 months, rampage 200%. So we at that same sort of level, and we're getting the same sort of volume spikes with that too. We then have Render, which is the same thing. If Bitcoin falls to 41, you got 2.4, 2.48 or whatever as my load up zones for those. Or we break the 45K, 46K zone, and then we finally break this long-term trend, and then we can easily see a $4, $5 Render. So the big moves are looking to come, and they're waiting for that. Bitcoin's been at the zone now 2-3 times in the last month, and it gets rejected. But we know that all the shorts are sitting there now. All the bears are trying to hold control, and the next resistances are sitting at 54,000. You know what? A big move. So if we finally break through this final wall, we can finally look at an absolute market strong eruption to the upward side, which is great. Now, one I'm also looking at that's right strong here is, volume is coming in, is Axie 2. I think it's very important, and we're going to be focusing that later on this week as well, to making sure we're covering a few in gaming, to covering in DeFi, to covering all the different sections so that you can have a balanced portfolio. So when we have a whole market eruption, they will pop at different times, but at least you're spreading the risk between the two. So looking at Axie, this is looking great for me as well. A break of that level will send this strong well into $70, $80, $90. It will finally get it reversing from this long pullback trend over here. We then have, let's have a look here, PRY, which is looking fantastic as well. Also on a daily trend, waiting for Bitcoin. But this one can rally easy back up to the $24 to the $28 region. Now, remember what I said now is the previous time we did this, we had 100, 200, 300% moves from alts. Everything is showing the very similar sort of page thing again. We then have Saffron Finance, which has got this downward wedge over here.
That's not Saffron Finance. That's
CD Finance. Sorry. CD5. We have this long downwards trend over here, which is great. Also right on trend right now. We have volume increasing. A break of Bitcoin easily sends this into these resistance levels over here. So you're looking at a $10, you're looking at a $12, you're looking at a $14 there as well. So I love that all the alts, as soon as Bitcoin's there, everyone's asking, why is altcoins not pumping? Because they all at trend line right now. But if Bitcoin breaks this damn 45 level, they're all coming, and they're coming in hard. And the problem is, if these things all rally 30, 40%, you're going to be waiting another 2-3 weeks for entries again. So we got to be on the thing that if there is, and we're lucky to get a pullback from Bitcoin, because the volume's there right now. They want to take Bitcoin up right now. We can see that very clearly. If there is, you got to take advantage of that. If we break through, we're not getting a pullback. We're going straight into Ultra mode here, and we need to be loading up. Now, speaking about Ultra, breaking trend again, showing tremendous amounts of strength. Another one for me as well. The volume hasn't even came in yet, and a break of Bitcoin will send us well on to the levels of 1.9 all the way to the $2 region. So another great move from there as well. Looked at Fantom. Here's Fantom, long wedge down. We've spoken about it a lot, but it's waiting very clearly for Bitcoin. It's breaking trend right now, and Bitcoin breakout of that level, looks like volume will come in quite strongly with Fantom, send it back to the regions of 2.5, 2.6. We know how this coin moves when the market turns really strong. We think our Gala games, look how it's sitting on such a beautiful daily trend right now. This has been descending now for the last 3-4 months. Break of this level, takes us up here. We look percentage-wise, small. This is just the thing. You're looking at a 60% to that move, just to the first resistance. Now, guys, if we have Bitcoin that rallies up to 54K, you're going to see these coins go into crazy mode. I got 1 inch here, which has been on this long downward trend over here. Bitcoin breaks out. This takes it up to these levels here. You're looking at breakout to there, 52. You're looking at 80%. You're looking at 128%. So it's just showing how critical we are at this level right now. We've got Near Protocol. Beautiful bounce. It's waiting to get the rest of the volume in right now. It's waiting for Bitcoin to break that sort of level. So I don't know about you, brother, but it feels like we're at that point where if you're getting pullbacks at these points, you're lucky to get them and you need to be capitalizing. We're getting the main big daddy that's been reset. We have the dollar index, which is showing weakness. We have dominance, which is showing strength. And we can see very clearly that we have restarted the cycle. So pullback, I'm taking advantage. But if it doesn't pull back, don't miss out on the break of the 45K zone. And I'm not focusing on Bitcoin. I'm focusing on all the daily trends that we're going to get from the altcoins, because then we're going to get a total 2 breakout and we're going to get a total 3 breakout as well. And that means we will then possibly look at a rejection of dominance and we can do a lot of massive explosion. How are you feeling, buddy?
So just quickly go into Luna. Luna's now, I think it's now making a breakout again. I think it's $93.
It's absolutely exploding. So
now look at Luna versus Bitcoin. So Luna
so for me, now imagine Bitcoin breaks 45. Where's Luna going?
Well, Luna's going to 100. Luna's going to 100.
All-time highs, baby.
Yeah. All-time high is 103. It's pretty much at 103. But look at the breakout against Bitcoin. So it's all-time high against Bitcoin.
Exactly. That's why it's not stopping right now. It's because
and
look at that.
So I want to show you something. Which for me is the most interesting thing. I think it's about to overtake XRP if it hasn't already. So I said yesterday, I think it's going to overtake XRP. It had to overtake XRP. It's overtaken Solana and Cardano, and now the next one that it's got to overtake is XRP. I think it'll do that later today, and then it'll pretty much be Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, Luna, which is insane. If you just think of where Luna's come from.
If it moves another 5%, it will overtake XRP.
Yeah. The other one which is on fire, Rune. You called it yesterday. You said 350 was like it was for free, man. It was for free. And where are we today? Bang, on the money.
This is big. So this was a really big daily breakout. If there's any test of 4.2, that's when you can stack it up. Now you got to sort of be patient. I think for long-term investing, if Bitcoin breaks 45, you can be laddering in definitely. But this was interesting for me as well, is we got this really strong break of RSI as well. So this is a big indicator for us. On that break over there, it's very similar to this sort of trend break over here, where we saw this massive explosion. And if we sort of look at it on the chart on when that happened, it basically took Rune from $7.9 back to the region of $15. So you saw 100% growth on Rune. So Rune, we've been talking about lots, and it's come to these zones. We, how many times, guys? It's cheap. This coin moves really, really strong. If we get the break, it's already looking at breaking a higher high right now. We get the break of Bitcoin 45. I wouldn't be surprised to see a $7, $8 Rune as well. So to sort of narrow short-term trades, I'm not interested in Rune because you've missed the 20%. But investment-wise, Bitcoin breaks 45. I don't think you want to miss out on the Rune movement as well.
So this is a time, just to summarize, this is a time where you want to be holding quality. Remember, we said you want to be holding quality because what's going to happen is Bitcoin is going to run, and then eventually the crypto people, not the oligarchs that came in, but the crypto people are going to come in. And they're going to start moving some of their profits from Bitcoin, and they're going to go down to the quality ones. They're going to go to things like Luna, Rune, Solana, Avalanche, Thor.
I wouldn't buy Luna now.
I wouldn't buy Luna now.
We will work on that, but I would not be selling Luna. Definitely not.
Yeah.
I think it's going to rip. I actually got a target of $140 if Bitcoin breaks at 45. So that's what I'm looking at as the next target for Luna. So I won't be buying, but guys, the true euphoria is going to come in when it breaks all-time high. And that's when we're really going to get, a massive lift from it. And there is a second option, obviously, 187. But for now, that's our first main major target on where we're looking at. And then I think it's going to do similar. Go for it.
This is still a good portfolio. This is still a great portfolio. I wouldn't be buying Luna now, but if you look at the rest of the portfolio here, Avalanche, Arweave, Fantom, Atom, Secret, Rune.
So Super, I would be buying. Super, I think 76 cents, I think is a great level on where we're at, especially the break of Bitcoin of that sort of zone. Any other ones? Moon River's obviously super cheap. Trader Joe looks fantastic. Ultra, obviously, that's breaking right now. It's showing tremendous volume. Arweave, I still think is it's cheap.
Wow.
I think it is. Yeah, it is still very, very, very cheap. What I do like about it is starting to break these trends over here on RSI as well, which is great. And I think a break of Bitcoin of that 45 will really send Arweave strong. I do have strong resistance at around $48, but you're looking at 50% gains from there on where we're looking. So I think Arweave a strong strength as well. Yeah, we'll take it.
I'll take it. All righty. Let's see.
Brother.
If there are any charts, anything that you want us to do in the super chats. We got 1 or 2 more minutes. We'll do super chats first, and we'll do the rest.
Guys. And remember, I've launched 13 short-term trades with short stop losses on Coinpanel. I've then released another 18 charts on investment profile as well. So we got the 2 watch lists there, and we have done a ton.
What's the difference between the watch list? What's the difference between the watch lists? So on Coinpanel, you've now got two watch lists.
I got an investors one, which means you're not really interested in your stop loss in these and where we're looking at investment-wise, so super weekly, monthly time frame zones and what are looking strong there. And then you got the traders one, which is for short-term money for the guys that want to make money and get out. We got your stop losses, we got the short TPs, we got all of that zone as well. So we're catering for both of you guys on those who, just so it's not tough or difficult for anyone. It's powerful, guys. And we've just put tons and tons and tons of trades out there for all of you as well.
And if you want Sheldino in your pocket, if you want his charts in your pockets all day long, as he updates them, and he's updated charts like Credo, Cadena, Cardano, all updates there. That's on Coinpanel. We will see you guys again later. I'm going to show you later when I think that this run is going to go into alts and which alts I think it's going to go into, because it's not going to go into all alts. So we'll see you guys again in a few hours. Until then, trade well, my friends.